Well, good afternoon, folks. It's a beautiful sunny day, and I have been out for a spin on the Diversion. But I thought I'd post this video and share something with you and ask for your opinion. Could anybody tell me, why does a previous owner do that to a motorcycle fairing at the front? It's, as you can see the forks there, and the wiring harness is exposed. Why would somebody do that? I discovered that when I changed the fork oil, and I hadn't noticed it. It's underneath the headlamp. It's beyond me. Why would you do that? So that's the fairing off with the headlamp taken out, which is an easy job on this bike. You can see the paint job that the person did. Look, I thought I'd got all that off, but that was all over the paint. So I'm going to get that off with thinners, I think. So look at the butchery on that, and that's underneath the headlamp. So I just don't get it. Anyway, fortunately, I bought this plastic welding gun off eBay for 12 quid. It's an absolute bargain. I would recommend, if you've got broken plastics on any bike, really, this is the way to go. And it's so cheap to do. And it's, really, really good. I'm impressed. The only thing you've got to watch out for is once you put those heated sort of staple things in, you've got a pair of pliers there, look, which is for snipping off the legs that go into the brass-coloured arms on the actual welding gun. And when you snip them off, they're incredibly sharp. So if you do it, in fact, even though I knew that today, I proggled my finger again, so you get a nice puncture wound. So what I did, I bought a piece of 2mm thick ABS plastic off eBay from a Chinese seller. He was selling, huge sheets or little sheets. So that one I think is 40mm square, something like that. Couple of quid. So I measured the thickness of the fairing ABS and bought the correct thickness of ABS, and what I did was lay that piece on the fairing. That's it, upside down on the workbench. Those maggots are not from the fairing, but I use my workbench as a bird feeder. They're actually mealworms to feed the blackbirds. So I drew a line around it, well, a couple of lines, and it's the inner one. The inner line was the correct one, and then I got a hacksaw. And I cut that. So I cut the square out, using that sort of what was effectively a sample piece of ABS, and not a bad fit, I thought. This is kind of twofold. I mean, if I ever respray the fairing, I'd get a bit of body filler out and just fill that tiny little gap at the top. On a close-up like this, it looks worse than it is, but I'm quite pleased with that. And then I use gaffer tape to hold it in position because I didn't want it dropping. If you look to the left of the top of the gaffer tape, there's a cracked bit there, and I've already repaired that using the plastic welding gun thing. And on the right-hand side, where there's a spire clip, you'll see I've also done that one. So there it is. I use quite a few of these little S-shaped ones, and you can see those legs sticking up. Now they're sharp anyway, so when you snip them off, you've got to be blooming careful. And this was the result. So the gaffer tape held it flat. I didn't want to I didn't want to have it move inwards sort of thing. So if I ever do come to respray the bike, I mean, you can't see this unless you're literally on your knees looking up at it, but in terms of the slipstream and that, and water and air going where it shouldn't, it's far better to have that piece in, because it'll at least deflect rain. Otherwise, the first picture I showed, it goes onto the wiring harness. So that's back in there, and that's what it looks like actually on the bike. it has to be ABS plastic, and like I say, you can buy little squares of it or big sheets of it, whatever. I'm going to get that paint splurge off. That was all over everything. I don't know. So, if you've got any theories why a previous owner would do such butchery on a bike, I would be very interested to know. That sort of, if you look at that underview there, that kind of molten look about it, it's a reflection of the tarmac underneath the bike. That's not how it comes out. That looks like it's had third-degree burns. That's actually the tarmac being reflected in the ABS and the paint. So there it is. If you've got damage to plastics, great way of doing it, really. You can cure a multitude of sins. There's the bike taken a couple of days ago. I've got my Royal Enfield helmet there, which I bought from MotoGB, actually. I like it. It's a good, nice helmet. Got the original indicators back on the bike. And if you've got any theories, let me know as to why anybody would chop a huge square in such a butchery way out the front of a bike. In the meantime, I'll be posting another video later. And take care on your bikes, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.